in online. And so I hand over to you, yeah, about 20 minutes, and then we have a discussion.
Okay, thank you.
So can you hold the microphone?
Okay.
Your notes and the
yes.
clicker?
Can I put,
you can put it
okay.
here.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here at World Open Innovation Conference 2025 to present our research titled Fostering Employee-Driven Innovation Through Open Innovation, a Structured Methodology for Aligning Ideation Events with Organizational Strategy. My name is Mahkam, and from Iran University of Science and Technology. This study was conducted in collaboration with Dr. Shahla Zandi, who is the first author of this paper and here today with us, and Reyhan Kiamri, who unfortunately couldn't, I'm sorry, and Reyhan Kiamri, who unfortunately is not here today with us. Our research explores how open innovation principles can be integrated with employee-driven innovation through a structured ideation event called Innovation Galaxy, designed to engage employees for improving innovation cultures and make them believe in themselves for ideation, and then make make innovation in the organization. Okay, let me start by briefing a brief history and background why we decided to choose this topic. In today's rapidly changing business environment, organizations must to remain competitive in this changing market, they have to rethink and redesign their processes and services. So innovation is not just a strategic goal, it's a structural and cultural necessity for the organizations. Innovation cultures have evolved over time. First, we had closed innovation in the internal environment of the organizations, and it was concentrated on the employees at all levels. However, innovation today goes beyond, and it combines with other external environments. Experts, partners, researchers, and all of them can collaborate in this network. And if we take one step further, we reach ecosystem innovation, where multiple organizations, startups, universities, and industries can play and collaborate with others without clear boundaries. Across all these forms, ideation and co-creation, experimentation remains central. And through contests, hackathons, and other events, we can engage people by rewarding them to actually make new products, services, and process improvements to keep growth and remain competitive. But however, many organizations still struggle with low employee engagement and fragmented innovation process and a lack of alignment with the strategical goals. But we have a lot of research that engaging and ideation will help to improve and to innovate. To address these issues, our study designed a structured and gamified ideation event called Innovation Galaxy. The aim was to engage employees in co-developing solutions to real business challenges. And if I go to the methodology, we adopted a single case study in a large service-oriented logistic company to modify ideation contest, and we use two combined frameworks, innovation funnel model and ISO 56007 for the area of, the judges to assess the ideas. There were three stages in this methodology: pre-event, event, and post-event. If we go through that, in the pre-event part, guided by design thinking, we aim to improve culture and use a customer journey map to point and understand the pain points of the customers, to align the ideation with those. And another way to business strategies and innovation strategies, we had two parts, reactive and proactive ones, which made us to program two panels of ideations. And then when we go to the next step, we had gamification and icebreaker to make people more comfortable and engage with other before the collaboration and ideation event. We had themes and some maybe contrast with each other in any stage of the game to make them think and be there, like speed and security, tech and human, cost and quality. And the theme was a galactic journey with a slogan that ideas light the galaxy and light our way to open innovation future. Activities, and we enhanced collaboration and creativity by gamification and icebreaker. If we move to the event stage or event phase, at first we had ideation, which we use funnel and ideation techniques like Crazy 8s, 5W1H, Round Robin, and FDV Matrix to ensure that the ideas improve in the funnel and by the time, and make them more, make the quality of them better and more qualify, and then by filtering and idea evolution by the funnel and the process of it. For the evaluation, we had three parts: primary, mentoring, and final. We used mentoring and the primary and the final, all of them, based on the area of ISO 56007 for the different parts and attitudes to examine what aspects are there for making the ideas better. The criteria was risk, implementation pathways, stakeholder value, feasibility, market, and ecosystem, and fit strategic alignment. And then there were top three ideas selected for the reward and the next one. Okay, these are some pictures of the real case study of our event. And if you go through the data after the event to analyze them and to have go further more. Overall participation, there are the numbers of these total submitters, registration, and attendees, and we can see the rate of 62% of those who registered registered were attenders too, and that's a good engagement rate and attendance rate, I think. And then through the process, number of ideas selected in the primary evaluation was about more of half. I mean, 51% that make a good and strong commitment for the attendance, and then a balanced selectivity in encouragement. And then we had the top ranked winners. So if we go through the data, we had, as I told you, we had two panels, new services and delay reduction. The analytical numbers show that new services panel invited broader creativity and visible customer value because it was open and more free space for employees to be more creative, and it has the more space. But the other one, the delay reduction, is more concentrate, and it's very related on their workforce and culture and their the maybe departments or the role of their jobs. And more technical. And if you go to departmental engagement and effectiveness, these are the distribution of the departments in the panels, in the winners, in the registration and participation. And if we compare them, we see that highest registration was from each department. So what can it help? And if we want to see that, we can just make them in 4 parts to implement the I'm sorry, to implement the strategical goals for the next or future events. And we have many factors to make them. And let me go further. And the analysis of idea evaluation score. As we had the evaluation process and the assessment of the ideas, and we aligned with the ICO 56000. The areas were not, and we had 9 questions, which were points, Likert points, and 1 to 5, and the average and the median shows that the mean score is 27.61, and it shows that suggests the data distribution is largely symmetrical, and the data were in a narrow space and were very near in the quality and reliable assessment of the judgments. And we had 3 winners of this ideation event, which the final score of them are here, and it shows that the first one, a highly innovative idea featuring a realistic technical design that simplifies organizational processes, 2 economically valuable and scalable solutions addressing core operational challenges for the second place, and the third place, a rapidly implementable idea with measurable short-term outcomes. Okay, and it shows the concepts and the numbers, the scores are very close to each other, but the difference shows that they are more impressive, so we can say that. Okay, managerial implementations and conclusions are that we can high engagement matters, but strategic alignment drives stronger innovation outcomes. And structured processes and ideation tools boost clarity, creativity, and readiness. Continuous mentoring and clear guidance deepen and mature solutions. Multi-level engagement embeds innovation as a core organizational value. And beyond EDI or employee-driven innovation, the method is effective in open innovation events and crowdsourcing. The conclusion and key statistical insights are that as we wanted to implement the ideation event to improve the culture, it was a successful strategical goal for us, and 61.7 was the percent of the active attendance, which is a good rate for that organization exactly for that stage, and reliable scoring with the mean and the mean of 27.7 and standard deviation of 2.1 show that the scoring, the judgments, and the scores were reliable, and then clear differentiation at the top for the visible standouts for the winners, or we can say the 3 best ideas for that event, and track effect, which we had 2 panels and new services, was more attractive for employees, and department patterns show that employees, the workforce culture, their focus and the area of their working are very important factors in aligning, or maybe in programming, in planning the ideation and make them more engaged. And overall, it could be a repeatable process for the this process can be repeatable and is a good funnel and methodology, and it can be used as a framework for making people of in an organization, to make them more engaged, more believe in themselves, to be creative and make ideas to improve organization. Recommendations for the future events, as I said, we have to, we can focus on the different departments, different parts, and make them more concentrate in their workforce. Okay, thank you. And yes, we can have more focused and more planning in the mentor phase for making them more confident in the process, pre-event, ideation, and post-event. And we can, okay, we have the attitude from learning from failure, and it helps us to implement that too in the process. And economic touch points, which invite customers, partners in co-creation stage for stronger and external signals. Thank you for your attention. And thank you.
Something we discussed since many years, but to see
Yeah.
how this worked. And I think you had great success.
Thank you.
So why do you think, that would be my initial question, why do you think there was such a high participation rate? Was it the top management forcing everyone to give an idea?
Because of the organization culture at those stage, And we wanted to improve that. We wanted to make them be more creative and believe in themselves. And the innovation culture is very important for their attitudes. And everyone should think in that way to make the important stage or make the important ways to go further and make innovation in the big stages, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's somehow like a chicken and hen, how you say, chicken egg, or
Yeah.
chicken egg problem. As first you need the culture. If you have a
Yes,
good
yes.
culture, people participate.
Yes,
but
it's
then
like
at the
a
same
loop
time,
and we have to
exactly,
improve it, yes.
Exactly. Okay, further questions, comments. Anyone here? I have many, but here are some.
Thank you so much. Very interesting topic. And I'm also very curious is that, so there are two types of challenges, right? One is more service focused and another is more process focused.
Yes.
And your finding is that there are more participants in the service process.
Service, because it was a large and service-oriented company and in the logistic area, so it was the main function of the organization, the services. So new service can be more a various of things. They can make them make free in the creativity, but the delay is very focused in the and concentrate in the workforce, and it needed the maybe the knowledge or the background or experience in that exact field, maybe because of that.
Okay, and follow up with the question from Frank, and so this company, since it's innovation, more innovation, and this challenge, this like idea generation is not one-time challenge.
Yes.
So it happens always in the
Yes,
company,
yes.
regularly, right?
Yes, yes. It should be a regular pattern, maybe, or but in different stage we can make it improve or make it more make other more concentrate on that. But it, as I told, it should be a cultural way, and it should always be have to have many different activities for improving that. But this one was just one maybe ideation contest for maybe like an event to make them collaborate in just one place and see each other, and just as a maybe a good day of remembering it and to make it more possible to innovate.
Okay, my last question is that,
Okay.
so for the idea evaluation, could you make examples, like questions that you ask the managers to evaluate?
Yes, as I told, it was aligned by the ISO 56000, that is an innovation standard, and it has and the number of ISO 56007 is for idea assessment. That there are some parts, areas, and many areas are there, and aligning with them are those. For example, like risk. How much risk should we take to implement that idea, or maybe how much does it have costs for us, and in different questions. But we made it simple, but and important but simple, to make it faster, because it was just one day and we have to make it sure. Okay, the areas were risk, cost, and I mentioned that because, sorry, I'm a little bit stressed.
Okay.
I want to be sure that I say, okay, here.
Yeah, we can discuss it later. Yeah.
Oh, I can put it here.
No, it was evaluation, you have to go back.
Yes. Implementation pathways, stakeholder value, feasibility, market, and ecosystem fit, strategic alignment. These were the areas.
Yeah, and
Thank
did
you.
you, I also had a question on that, as at least in Germany, this ISO norm is very criticized, as they say you can't standardize innovation. And there's been a lot of dispute, but it seems to help you in this process. And would you say it was specific enough for this concrete company? So
We try to maybe customize it with the event, the organization, but it can show us a roadmap and make us and help us in this road.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Further, yeah, Henry.
Thank you for making the journey here
Thank
from
you.
Iran and sharing it with us this very interesting case study. I have a question, and then depending on your answer, I have an idea or a follow-up. My question, this work was done, I think you said, in 2023.
No, 2024, but the
Okay, so
ISO
my
was-
question, do you think the company will do it again?
Yes, because lack of time, I just passed the part that we in the post-event part we had surveys from those who attended and from the managements, and the number of the scores, the total was 4 out of 5. That shows for all of the attendees and for all of the management strategies, it looks very interesting and and attractive for them, and they really wanted to repeat, and maybe it could be just like a story, and it could be more further. Contests or maybe other programs to be maybe related to this one or another new ones.
So if they are going to do it again, to me that is a very powerful feedback that you have done something helpful.
Yeah.
Whatever the survey results say, that's one thing. If they say, yes, we want to do it again,
Yes.
to me that's much more powerful.
Yes.
So my idea for you actually comes from I think your last or second to last slide, that one way to take this forward is to engage some customers or
Yes.
maybe some key suppliers and involve them in this
Yes.
process. Do you
Yes.
think this could be possible?
Yes, actually, it's a very good point. And
Well, you made it, yes. So
it was in our program in the future one. It was just in an organization, and maybe first step to make them and go through the open innovation attitude, and the next step was inviting other organizations or make them attend from all over. They want to be there for that maybe service or maybe other parts that they it would be interesting for them, and it was the next step of this next step of this contest.
well, I will be very interested if that happens, because I think for the management of the organization, now they have an existence proof that this can be done in our organization. Do we take the risk of sharing it with some of our customers and key suppliers?
Yeah.
From the management perspective, there's a great opportunity, but there's also maybe some risk here.
Yes.
So I think it will be very interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, of course, I guess the big question is, did they implement any of the ideas?
Yes.
Yeah?
And after the contest, maybe it's good to say that we, again, in our department, not just the contest, we reviewed all other ideas in different stages. As I told, we had many ideation methods to make them ideas. So maybe it was just little ideas, just maybe a title, but some were outformed to the maybe final stage, but maybe they were not winners. So we reviewed all the ideas and we implemented some of them. We had projects and not just the winners, but also other ones that were in the contest.
Okay, but then this is another big sign of culture, is there's not invented here. You know, there's a big syndrome of not invented here.
Actually,
that
they
people
had
don't.
the potential, and maybe they wanted to be maybe a catalyst or something like that to make it improve.
Yeah, very good. Further questions? Time for one more question? Well, then we can get for the second presentation already. This seems to be always a little bit difficult. And thank you for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we can follow up on that. Okay, then next is Anna. And the presenter, you hand over to her. Yeah.
Like Madonna.
Shall I click for you? No.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm just thinking that I'm waving my hands too much, so it can.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if it works with. There is the presentation, essential or extra. And I think somehow both, you had a galaxy, we have a space format. This paper, at least when I read it, is very, very theoretical and conceptual. So it's somehow the opposite. So overall, we have a good mix. But you also have a singular case study. And we are very much looking forward to what this brings.
Yes. Good day, everyone. Welcome to WOIC. My name is Anna Orel. I'm a PhD student at the University of Iceland. And what you see here is actually something that is called Skybox. This is an EVE Online game, and this is the part of the space where they're flying in their spaceships, and each star, they can leave idea for future potential of development of the game. So that makes sense, like that's similar to your idea box, right? Just here, there are gamers who are doing their job. So the presentation for today is actually about when a company needs some kind of firm-hosted community. When the community is not really necessary. I'm not arguing here that community is not necessary. I'm arguing here that maybe there are cases that are more necessary than in other. Some animals are more important than others, right? And it's here, no? Yes, it is. Okay. So I'm just arguing here. Oh, okay. There is some more. I added some more slides. So what is really important here that we are not talking anymore about passive consumers. We are talking about some consumers that are pro-amateurs, right? They're prosumers, producers, and in some industries, that phenomenon is more common than in other. And I'm arguing that gaming industry is probably leader when it comes to this. Come on. Come on. No. No? Okay. Okay, I don't think this is a crowd that I need to speak about innovation and community innovation, but just important thing, like to clear out, gaming communities can innovate, so it doesn't matter if the community is established with extreme purpose to innovate or not. It can be brand community. Why they innovate? In my case, in my previous paper, I show that they innovate for reason that company did not expect, actually. This surpass the user innovation paradigm. It's not their need because it's a game. I mean, you don't have to innovate because of your hobby. And they're innovating for the community itself. However, we have to talk that there are some preconditions that need to be fulfilled in order to include community as a part of your innovation activities, and that usually comes to modularity, both in product, process, and organization. Okay. Oh, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, come on. Oh, there, okay. I know, but that's why I'm pressing. Okay, so this definition is from some of my previous papers. So just to be sure what I think when I say innovation community, so there are joint efforts, right? The results potentially superior than anyone individually would do. This is something that can be like applied to any entity, whether it's official entity or not, right? And official entity or just individuals, that's what I mean, not. So this is my definition. And the picture, of course, is again from my case study from the game EVE Online. And just a side talk, because we have enough time, the graphics is awarded so many times that it's even in MoMA Museum in New York as a part of contemporary art. So here. No, he has some up there. Oh, wow. So let's go back to my question. Thank you, Henry. When a company needs a firm-hosted community, or community, like, oh, why is this back? Okay, good, okay. I skipped this one. Again, not necessary to talk about lead users, but they're really, really important for my talk. And there should be some kind of having in mind the difference between user feedback and lead user search in this case. Okay, so back to the question. As you have realized, yes, I'm talking about video game, EVE Online, and we are back in space in future 20,000 years. People didn't survive. We became humanoids, and the whole idea behind the game, the whole story of the game goes like the corporations in the future are fighting for political and economical power. Wow, that's pretty much familiar state, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit more, because now I have more time, yes, about lead youth. Yeah, of course, how else? I will not. I mean, I had slides for 10 minutes officially, because they told us that, so I can add some kind of extra now. So why gaming industry is important, and I think here what is important actually to mention is demographical change in gaming. Gamers become much older, right? It becomes equally distributed among genders. And now we are not talking about teenagers anymore, right? So we are talking about grown-up, financially independent, often very educated people who are capable and often willing to give the feedback to the company and often help company with their rather meaningful hobby. Right. Oh, again, there. Well, I said like they should wire me. Okay. So, I think this is something wrong with this. So, one of the things that I'm saying that the game design is actually the key thing in determining actually the design of the product, and in this case, the game design is the key thing to determine whether the company needs a community or not. And I'm saying again, like that's my argument, that affordances, and in this case, game affordances, are something to actually determine now game design. And I use this definition of affordances as a relation between the user, what user can do and what product allows. And that relation depends both on users' capabilities and on features of the product. Okay. So there is a little distinction between real and perceived affordances, and that is actually the distinction between how designers of the game think that products should be used and how users actually use those products. So keep this in mind. There is a difference between real and perceived affordances. So I'm just arguing that there are explicitly defined products, meaning that there are products where users, producers and users are thinking the same thing. And then there are not so defined products, and that's actually the products where the real and perceived affordances are pretty big. So my next argument here, come on, is actually that this abstractness, this gap between real and perceived affordances gives some space for sticky information of lead users, and that they are actually fulfilling that gap. Come on. Okay, back to video games. So I'm going to try to explain this classification according to game affordances. So, do we have any gamers here? Okay, some. A father of a gamer counts as well, yes. Well, that's a support as well. Cooking, bringing food, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I completely agree. So we have those old, when most of people think about games, we think about this linear thing where you have some kind of task to finish, right? And then you have increasingly difficult task on every new level, right? So that, in my case, would be theme park games, right? It's very prescriptive what you have to do in order to proceed. Then we have open world games, which are similar, but they're offering for a little bit more choices, so you feel that you can choose, but actually your choice is limited, right, to few options. So it's basically, are you going left or right, or like something very, very simple, but it does not really give you general offer to choose. And then we have sandbox games, which are basically, the producers they don't make a game. They make settings for you to make a game. So all the content in those games is created by users. I mean, you know Sims and things like that, but there are games like My EVE Online, which went much, much further in that. So basically, nothing in the game exists except the space, right? And your willingness to build a spaceship, to fly that ship, right? To make corporation, to do all the things that you need to do, like basically on Earth, but now in space. So there's a huge research that those kind of games are supporting creativity. And I was brave enough to argue that those kind of games should be used for gamification of employees and not other kinds of theme park games. So Sandbox in Eve, as I said, goes very, very deep and far. It goes, like, their lead user search is so advanced that they have in-game elections where people are advertising for themselves. They're supported by their corporation. They're not having guilds like in other games. And they have been chosen, if they have been chosen, they're coming once per year to Iceland for 10 days to talk with strategic management, all kinds of game designers about how to proceed with the game development. So they have really worked what is going to happen next within the game. I mean, it makes sense because literally game is designed in a way that if players decide to stop playing, game would actually not exist, nothing, like only settings would exist, right? Okay, come on. Okay, so there is a little context again, back to the theory. So this, for those who are not familiar, this is something we call design structure matrix or task structure matrix. So just for few things that terms that I will mention for you to know what am I thinking about when I say, for example, thing crossing points. This is thing crossing points. That's the point where transactional cost should be the lowest, right? Those, this square is one entity, and in my case, it represents a company. Those teams are like D1 to D5 are designer teams within the company, same as here. So you see that there is a transfer of information within this box, right? This here is community, and I put just 5 groups from C1 to C5. They're like, in order for this to function, they both have to go to, this is common ground, and common ground actually mean design rules. There are certain specifications within that agreement would function. That practically would mean that if you and I are going to make a computer together, like your part of what you are producing has to fit what I am producing, right? In order for at the end, the computer as a whole to function. So this is just an example of this because, so those little ones, I'm calling them like transfers. And of course, big one between the company and the community are transactions. Within each entity, there is perfect, at this moment, there is perfect information hiding. There is no information between them that needs to be transferred at this moment. Okay, let's go further. Have I lost you all here? Okay. Okay, this is the same one, but now I'm telling you the real story behind it. Remember theme park games where people, this is linear game, where there is actually only one way to do the game? I'm arguing here that this picture here fits that kind of theme park game and fits EVE Online, but just for the beginner players. Why? Like, beginner player is not deep enough in the community to have enough information transfer. So dominantly his, let's be honest, EVE is mostly male game. His only contact is with the company, and that he pays a membership. Oops, sorry. He pays compensation and gets a membership into the game. Sorry, okay. Okay, let's go to the open world game. Okay, come on. Oh, no. So, This is a little bit more complex picture here. There are multiple options, right? And the company needs some expert knowledge, so they need some often feedback. And here is that feedback, like company sends some new information, it comes to community, it goes back and influences the previous version of the new version of the game, so the company can send a new, better, and improved game. Okay, this is in between. And, okay. One more time. Oh, no, now two, right? Okay, something is wrong with this. I think you will need to change the battery. Okay. Okay. So I'm saying that if EVE Online, first we have this kind of scenario. It is the exchange between the company and the community is so big that there are no thin crossing points anymore. And this process is becoming extremely expensive for the company. And, but I'm just saying that this is some in between, that it happens, but it's leaning toward this one, where the company actually can put a part of its operations toward community, and community is doing a lot of design work for the company. So the company can reduce its operation. This small part here is the part of the community that is still there, but maybe not playing game anymore. But they still feel the part of the community. However, now the community becomes a product, right? The game becomes a platform of exchange, and the community somehow becomes the product itself. Okay. Anyone here still? Okay, good. Thank you. So, same old, like good old 2 times 2. So, I was trying to make sense of what I have previously said. So, I'm just saying that this is my initial hypothesis, let's say like this, that based on abstractness of the product, company, oof, why is this so? Okay, come on, come on, come on. Oh, to the glass, okay, but I'm like pointing there somewhere. Okay, thank you. Okay, I have, I introduced second second dimension, which is task interdependence. And now I have the place of low abstractness, low task interdependence. And that actually means the community is really no need, right? It's like if you're thinking, yeah, it's always nice to have a community, but does any company need to really invest a lot of efforts in creating a community? Well, maybe not, according to me. So then we have high task interdependence, and this individual creativity, it will be clear just in a second. This is my version of, yeah, it's maybe nice to have it. And finally, that's our last scenario. It's a community as infrastructure, where actually community becomes a product. And now it's a little bit clearer, I think. So I think that here we have those instant gratification games. But if we move this to the technology examples, those are something like very intuitive products to use, right? In organizational examples, like checkout, maybe. if we talk about coordinated efficiency, yeah, there's like, I don't know, like maybe League of Legends. I was consulting like several gamers for this. But in technology examples like ERP software and, for example, hospital surgical teams, because everybody has very precise what they are doing, but there is a high interdependence among them. Again, this community is nice to have. Here, community serves mostly as a motivational and inspirational part. This is for solo use, like Adobe Photoshop for solo use. If we are talking about maybe some kind of hackathons, but for individual users, right? And here we have video games like EVE Online. Oh, okay, come on, again, okay. Video games like EVE Online, yeah. Then we have like big scientific research, because, yeah. There is no prescriptive role for anyone, but there are like big projects to be working on, some infrastructures. And yes, thank you. So this is work in progress. And I would appreciate any kind of criticism, whatever you have to say about this.
Yeah, Anna, thank you very much. I made a lot of notes. I think you really, in a positive way, confused us a little bit, at least me. Can you summarize in one sentence what's the main open research question?
When a company needs a community.
Okay, I think, and then not just when it needs one, but not more how it designs the interaction with the community.
Yeah.
And then you use these three metaphors from the games as potential design structures. Is it this?
That's better explanation that I would give.
Okay, and then why, so I think that's really relevant, but then I would argue there has been tons of papers about online communities. Actually, I would say this is where the entire field of open innovation and user innovation started around these open source communities. So what do we still not know about it?
I think that there is a certain, community became a buzzword here. You know, everybody thinks like, I mean, I was recently invited by a bank how we should create a community. And my first question is, do you really need a community? So I think it's like we are taking this for granted that we need community. There are businesses that are very nicely regulated for ages, products that are kind of very simple. It's nice to have like cooking advice online, but do you really need a community that you cook with regularly? It's like, so I think like the basic questions are the hardest to ask.
Okay,
and harder
we
to
can
answer.
argue about this, as I
Yeah.
think a lot of established industries now say they would like to move in an ecosystem, and then these complementers in an ecosystem are kind of community, perhaps different than this. Perhaps you go back one slide, and well, there's one more question, but I need one more for clarification.
Okay.
As in the paper, you write very much about affordance. And as a great concept. Then in your final table here, you had abstractness. So what's the difference? Why, and this is also where you lost me.
Okay.
Why you suddenly moved from
Okay.
affordance, how you started, and now you end up with abstractness here.
I defined abstractness, I think, in the paper as a gap between real and perceived affordances.
Okay.
So when a company, like have certain agenda around the product, and that agenda doesn't fit with users. I mean, in EVE, it's quite obvious, you know. It's a huge gap because they need to create and design a lot of mods and a lot of other things in order to fulfill the gap they feel that company did not do. So that's actually, I'm calling that gap abstractness.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. It's not a question, but maybe rather suggestions, because you stand that it's a necessity, and I would rather go to find the argument to establish the necessity, which is quite complicated, because you have to see that there is a causal relationship, then there is, if there is not the condition, there is not the results, and then that it's not you cannot compensate it by anything else. I think you have a lot of the elements, so maybe based on let's say, necessity works. There is a Yandul in Netherlands is working a lot on that, and I will send you some paper, because just by taking the time to demonstrate that it is necessary, it could be a good backbone.
Thank you.
So, okay, what is necessary, and demonstrate it, because what we see in a lot of papers based on little causal relationship plus regression, we say it's necessary, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it's, so necessity, it's something very interesting to look at. And I think you have the data.
Thank you in advance for this.
Yeah.
Tricia.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Anna. Very nice presentation. I do like the table that you draft in the end. And I have one question is related to the context that you are drawing. You mainly focus on video game industry, right?
Yes. Yes.
And when I look at some examples, for example here, from abstractiveness and task interdependence, low, and there is a technology example, you mentioned microwave oven.
Yeah.
I don't know why this one really related to the video games.
Well, I mean, I cannot generalize, I know that, but the problem is actually if I have mentioned only like Candy Crush, you know, I don't think that most of the audience would understand how simple that is. Like it's literally an instant gratification game. You do something, your dopamine highs like very high in a few seconds, and it goes down, and that's it. It's very intuitive, it's easy to use, and you don't need explanation for that. For most of people, I would say like, that's what I gave, like calculator, it's something that you intuitively know how to use. Like that was my, it is just presentation-wise, I don't know how I'm going to incorporate that in paper, because I mean, like with every solution that I came up to, there are 3 more problems that appear. You know, if I find a good example in video games, I will find probably, I mean, if I don't find reviewers who are super users of video games, I'm in problem. So I need something that people can relate to. So that's the only, yeah.
Okay, and then the second question is that, where does your data come from?
Yes, I have been doing like a longitudinal qualitative case study of EVE Online for many years now. So there are a lot of talks with the gamers, a lot of talk with the company employees. I have their data, or like financial reports for many years back. Like I'm just like doing this for very long. Yes.
I got it. I do like this video game industry, and also heard in this industry, they do have a community. For example, the open source software development, and also the users' ideas.
Yeah.
And then the developers, according to the users' ideas, and then they develop the new games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, according EVE Online is the basic game, and it's like 20 years old. It's one of the oldest still existing and in full swing games. So in that sense, but like in the last 10 years, they had so many spin-offs from the game, you know, around the game. So they're calling, I don't know, Eve crush, Eve this. So it's like there is like virtual reality edition of the game. There is like fighting, because this is a highly strategy game where people spend a lot of time together. The reason for community is among like slow pace of the game. You know, whenever you have slow pace, people tend to spend more time with each other. So that actually creates a community. And they're going skiing with with the employees of the company. That's how close they are. I mean, it's unusual example maybe, but I think it's a good example because we need that kind of, I mean, we don't need mainstream to explain potential development of video games. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the interesting question is if the company would have been designed at the first place in this quadrant, or if they actually over the years moved to this.
Well, the interesting answer to that interesting question is actually that among super gamers, EVE Online is quite known as a game very, very difficult to learn. So there is a high investment at the beginning, probably sunk cost fallacy later, right? Probably. But there is a high investment in the beginning. The average, I didn't say, like average education of those people is university degree. This is not, I mean, the people that I have been talking with, their lead users were US Congress politicians, were NASA engineers, and so on. So I'm talking about highly, highly educated people here. So if that kind of games attracts that kind of people. Right, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the presentation. I'm from TÜV Nord industry, so not research industry. And we try to set up communities in our company. And I would say just one was successful. So I like your question, why do you actually want to have a community? My question would be, I now understand much better why some work and others may not work. But can you actually artificially create this community as infrastructure? I mean, EVE Online, Minecraft, and so on, isn't this a lot of luck and coincidence? Or how can you do it artificially in a company?
First of all, I don't believe in artificial doing anything with people, you know, in a way that you create a community with long-term investment in several people first. So you create a core community. And Henry and I were talking earlier how Henry is successful of creating this community. I mean, you know that we meet every Monday all year long. So you have several core users that you really like take time. And I think it was a Virgin Record owner who said, invest in your people, and then they will invest in your customers. So they did invest a lot in employees who then invested further in customers. So the situation is that all the employees of the company are like encouraged to play the game even within working hours. Every user can contact any employee, including CEO, whenever. Like they just pin him on Instagram and so. So it's like you have to create settings and then hope for the best results, because you cannot have yeah.
So Anna, it's great to see the further development of your research.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing how much you've learned from Carlos Baldwin and how you are bringing that also into these very interesting questions. So I guess I want to say 3 comments. One is, I think because of the design structure matrix that you're bringing in, you have a bit of a design-centric conception here, I think. And I don't mean that in a bad way. But I do think that there is a more user-centric conception that might be, for example, a jobs-to-be-done framework, where why are we sitting playing Candy Crush, this very simple game? I think you gave us at least part of the answer. You get this quick dopamine hit. The job to be done is to use a little bit of time, get a very pleasurable response. So that's the job to be done in this quadrant on the left. there are different jobs being done in the other quadrants. And because users are looking for different things, designers may or may not fully understand. Yes, the designers have their intention, as you point out, in their design. But what's actually being done by the users may differ from what the designers intended. And what this brings me to my second observation. A lot of communication in your site happens within the game. But if communication can happen outside the game, with Instagram posts or Reddit threads. I remember one time I was looking with you on Reddit threads about EVE Online. If you can communicate outside the game in ways that the game designers don't control, the users can widen that separation between whatever the designers intend and what the users really want, need, or the user's job to be done. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a second parameter here that doesn't quite fit into abstractness and task interdependence, but it's communication outside the game. The final point is to go back to where Frank started, and that is we know a lot about the lower right quadrant thanks to earlier research in open source software communities. One of the remarkable tensions in that set of communities is forking, where a subset of a community wants to go this way and most of the community wants to go that way, and for some period of time they discuss, maybe they argue, they exchange ideas and try to persuade each other. But at some point, this subset says, screw it, we've been talking to them till we're blue in the face, they still don't get it, let's just go do it, and they fork. And so now you see either a schism in the community or you see a whole new community being born. And you were talking about some of the spin-offs from EVE. So I think there you might have some interesting data where you see people doing the spin-off. So now it's no longer all inside that single game. Now it's spinning off in other areas. And one hypothesis I have is there are different jobs being done by those spin-offs beyond the jobs of the lower right quadrant.
Yeah.
So it's great to see how it's developing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great comments. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further ideas, questions, other fields?
Hi.
Hi again, thanks again for the presentation. I have a comment and a question is interrelated. Yeah, the first one is the research question. Maybe instead of like when the firms need community, I would instead reframe it how they do it. Okay, for example, when you're mentioning about Candy Crush Angry Birds, the leaderboards are not young people anymore. If you look into the parents, the leaderboards are actually the first 10 are over 40 age people. And the interesting thing is about, as you mentioned in the second point, there is outside of community there in the Facebook. If you go to just Facebook, type Candy Crush or Angry Birds, you will see a lot of housewives or house moms, they're using a community. Also related to that, there's like in a gaming community, there's Discord. Like in the Discord, they're talking about it, and this is how it develops. Maybe open innovation here is asking the outer insights and how they bring in, the firms are bringing the ideas. For example, the very interesting case in Angry Birds, it's a Finnish company. They built it for the kids, but in reality, it's like the old people are playing it just to pass them. But how they're playing, how they're engaging is like they're using a Facebook and, okay, I did this score and everybody wants to like Papa. So maybe I would reframe this as the how question instead of what question and when question. And what do you think of, is it going to be that way?
So okay, full disclosure here. Okay, so in my thesis, I'm finishing my PhD. So I so far answered what users can contribute, and they can contribute much more than company actually expected. How do they do it? Like dealing with motivation. I did. How do they do it? Why do they do it? How do they do it? So it was quite convenient, actually. This was convenient choice having when question, because in my case, I'm not saying I'm not saying that there is no that community is not nice. I'm not arguing of its value. I'm just saying, like, when do you actually need it and when it's like optional? That's my, so yes, I agree, maybe it's not the best question, but at this moment for me fits. So I have what, why, how, and when. Okay, so that's the point, but I completely agree. Community is never a wrong thing.
No, and I think you had a really interesting point, actually saying Candy Crush is moving to one of the other quadrants as the users are first now grown-ups, not kids any longer, and they use these secondary communication channels around.
I'm afraid this goes together with those games are like solo playing games. And the people are actually looking for some kind of connection, social connection. You know, so if they are not option to talk within the game, you know, they're moving somewhere else and using other channels to do that. I mean, I have a example in Eve that one of the lead users told me, because like there is a strategic game, he said like, I'm actually never using real agent to play within the game, but I'm playing game 23 hours per day. But he's not using the real agent, he's not within the game. I want to say it's a strategic game. They're using all kinds of other channels to collaborate, communicate strategy. You know, so they're surpassing the inefficient communication that was offered by a company. So I completely agree, community is nice to exist, but for fulfilling the product itself, I don't think it's always like 100%. Like there are cases that are more necessary than others, let's say like this.
So this prompts my final observation. Your research question is, when do firms need communities versus not? You could also do a second paper, when do communities need firms?
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic question, thank you, yeah.
And when maybe they don't. For example, WOIC, there is no company.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, like there is a thing. I mean, I was thinking about conferences because I'm involved in like here in organizing, and we haven't actually outsourced any of the things. Like we are doing everything on our own, and there is a moment when conference actually overgrows the capacity. That's the moment, like URAM, I'm giving URAM not Academy of Management, because the Academy of Management has surpassed that limit long time ago, right? URAM is like around 2,000 people, and I think for the last 10 years they actually outsourced the whole organization to some company. So it's, we have actually outsourced a part of the work to Drifta, right? They're our submission system, and you're using the app, right?
It's a step up from EasyChair.
Yeah, it was running away from EasyChair, let's be honest.
Okay, so any further comments, questions?
Come on.
Well, I think otherwise you steered a really interesting discussion, Anna. I was thinking, actually, going back to your microwave oven, if I would consult a microwave oven company to become more innovative, probably what would we do? Not change the microwave, but create a user community around it, make it a connected device, move it really to this lower right quadrant. So I think even as a starting point, and this is why a company may need a community, you know, and I don't know, there's this famous example of the German company Vorwerk, and they have these cooking robots, this cooking machine. And I heard this is a German machinery company, and say this is an old product, it's just really good with a Thermomix, you know. And it grew in the second largest product worldwide with a paid user community. By just adding this. And they were totally blown away. They never anticipated this, you know. They have a 65% conversion rates of users going to the paid app. You know, you pay a very expensive appliance, and then you still pay $10. And the main use case actually is social cooking. You can spy at your neighbors what they are cooking in your local community. So this seems, you can download recipes and this. So and I think if you look, it's one of the really big success factors of a company, or success stories of a company almost starting like a microwave oven, and then moving downwards, I think, accidentally to exactly that field, I would say, community as an infrastructure, which is now driving this product.
Yeah, thank you. That's
So, and I think that's also another way to look at your research, you know,
Yeah.
actually depending on what you have to achieve, where you have to go. Okay, well, then, thanks a lot for listening. I think it's now lunch, and Anna, thanks again.